we want universities to be the first vista of intellectual debate and the last bastion of individual freedoms. And we treasure that American value of individual freedom and responsibility so much. And I'm proud to say that our university, Indiana's public land-grant institution, Purdue, has been and will always be that first vista and that last bastion.
Welcome back to Innovate or Evaporate. I am so excited today to have President Mung Chiang, the 13th president of Purdue University and a distinguished innovator in electrical and computer engineering. Assuming leadership on January 1st, 2023, at the age of 45, he became one of the youngest presidents of a top 50 American university in recent history. Chiang's academic journey led him to Stanford University, where he earned his BS, MS, and PhD in electrical engineering. His career commenced at Princeton University in 2004, where he rapidly ascended to full professorship by 2011. During his tenure, he founded the Princeton Edge Lab, focusing on bridging theory and practical applications in networking. In 2017, Chiang joined Purdue University as the John A. Edwardson Dean of the College of Engineering and the Roscoe H. George Distinguished Professor of Electrical and Computer Engineering. Under his leadership, Purdue's College of Engineering achieved its first back-to-back top 4 graduate ranking in the United States. Mung, welcome to Innovate or Evaporate. I am so fired up to have you as a guest on the show today. But I'd like to start a little bit going back in history.
Well, boiler up to you as well, Joe. Great to be here.
92.
Innovate Venture. And I love, by the way, the title of your podcast here, Innovate or Evaporate. I don't know if I can spell evaporate correctly without looking at a word here, but, well, you know, they do rhyme. And you got to choose one. I'm going to choose innovate.
I like it. We always got to be disrupting ourselves, right?
That's right.
That's the whole
yes.
piece. Like the whole theory of this is that entrepreneurs, investors, they definitely innovate. But and I think maybe it's even the important thing are all the other people that have a finger in the innovation pie, like yourself, right? Presidents of major universities that are shaping the talent that we have tomorrow.
Well, universities need to innovate as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
My predecessor, Mitch Daniels, did a lot of great innovations at Purdue University, and the Boilermakers continue to do that.
I love it. So, and we're going to get to something here in a minute about just about the Boilermakers and the global presence of Purdue. I cannot wait to jump into this. So you were born in tell me if I pronounce this correctly, Tianjin, China, and then you moved to Hong Kong at age 11. So before we kick in today, tell us a little bit about your home life. What was that like? What morals or what types of things inspired you when you were a kid, about your home life?
Yeah, well, so first of all, as you said, indeed, I arrived here at Purdue University almost 8 years ago when Mitch Daniels recruited me away from Princeton, and had a great honor to serve as the Dean of College of Engineering at Purdue at that time. And then I had wonderful 5 years serving in that capacity. I should say 4, actually, because I did take 1 year leave of absence to serve as the Science and Technology Advisor to the U.S. Secretary of State, Secretary Mike Pompeo, and that's late 2019 to late 2020. Great honor to serve alongside him, and we tried to do a lot of great things for this country. And, when I was growing up in Hong Kong and then here in the United States, when my family immigrated to this greatest country in human history, it's truly an exceptional country. America is singular. America is exceptional. And America is that shining city on the hill. So the ability to have the freedom and the opportunity in this land is just incredible. And if you think about a university like Purdue, a public land-grant institution serving the great state of Indiana for 155 years now, we have that opportunity to give the same kind of freedom and opportunity to our students and to the next generations. And that's what excites me most. And that's why we've got a great team trying to serve that sense of mission and purpose at Purdue.
So when you came to the U.S., you went to Stanford.
To Stanford as a freshman. Yeah, my family already immigrated by then. I went to Stanford as a freshman, and I lived in a dorm that served 4 flavors of ice cream every lunch and dinner. And I didn't know any better.
So. When I went to Purdue, we only even got vanilla or chocolate.
No, well, we've got more flavors for you to choose from now. Welcome back to our dining court. Anytime I would often go to dining course and catch up with students. And there are a couple of those dining courts where they serve 3-4 different flavors. So I had a lot of ice cream when I was a freshman at Stanford. And tried to learn a few things as well. And then I went to Princeton as an assistant professor, as you mentioned, back 20 years ago. And I also started a couple of companies. Was the CEO of the first startup that co-founded from my lab, the Princeton Edge Lab, doing wireless networking technologies. And those startups started to do much better once I was no longer the CEO. But I did try to help recruit the successor as I went back to academia. Startup is tough.
Yep.
To innovate is tough, and to create a new business enterprise that can sustain itself and to commercialize those technologies, that's even tougher. Yep. I know you work with great entrepreneurs and investors throughout our state here, and you know that better than I do. But, I tried it. Was really tough. I'm glad it's actually worked out quite well since. But after a while, I said, you know what? I want to go back and hide behind the eternal curtains of academia. And then one thing led to another, and I'm so honored over the past 2 years to serve in the new capacity, the same university, and we've got great things going on at Purdue.
So that background, so I like to call myself sometimes a recovering entrepreneur, right? 8 businesses, 7 verticals over 32 years, I think it is. And so having that, actually starting a company, going through that, it's almost manic, right? It's almost like, it is manic being an entrepreneur, right? You're on cloud 9 in one moment and then in the gutter the next moment.
Oh, the roller coasters. I always say, those entrepreneurs, they need to seek medical help. And the best medical help they can get is to found and to execute a startup company because it's hard. It is emotionally taxing. And I remember there was one moment I went to my first startup company when I was at Princeton, and I raised some Series A funding. I got first round of customers. I got the technology out of Princeton Edge Lab, and edge compute was an emergent field back then. Now it's mainstream. And I walked into this board meeting in the afternoon and came out 4 hours later. It was a late summer night in central New Jersey, and looked at the beautiful sky and said, wow, now I'm confused. I thought I knew what I was doing, but now I don't even know who's my customer anymore. I want to hedge. Professors sometimes are very good at hedging and lecturing, but in the startup business, nope, you got to put a bet somewhere. Yes. And I learned the importance of who before what. Yeah. And that is a lesson I took with me, whether it's Washington, D.C., serving the state government, the State Department and the federal government, or in the service to our university, is the who before the what.
I love that. So recently I saw, and Purdue's had this ranking for I think multiple years, but Fast Company ranks Purdue as number 16 most innovative companies in the world, which is interesting because I use the word companies, but Purdue is a university, and it's the only university on that list. And so I think, having, and by the way, you're ahead of NASA and Disney, I think, which is amazing.
I think we're between NASA and Disney. I forgot which one is ahead of us.
Oh, you're right. You're right. You're just
in that neighborhood.
And right behind OpenAI, by the way, I think it is, and ranked number 1 in education. So your background, being an entrepreneur, you came to the university. What are some of the things that transferred into the university and the culture? So the culture of Purdue and how you try to promote collaboration, innovation. How do you think about that?
Look, Toph, you know me, and I so appreciate getting to work with you over the years. But you know me that I'm a nerd and I'm an entrepreneur. Frankly, I have no intent or plan to get sucked into university administration, whatever that means. I'm proud to serve because, you get to help accelerate, amplify, and celebrate other people's success with a great sense of mission, as we talked about just now. But intrinsically, I'm a startup person. So we always want to say, be patient, but hurry up. I'm like 50% the speed of Mitch Daniels, right? Maybe 40%, I don't know. It's interesting to see that particular listing by Fast Company. And we appreciate Fast Company so much. We are the only brand that matters coming from the education category. Yeah. We are listed in that wonderful, wonderful company and the zip code for 3-4 years in a row now. So our communication marketing team, they do a great job. And our faculty and students, they do a great job. It's truly a reflection of what they do day in and day out, what they do in One Health space, in compute space, in the Mitch Daniels School of Business here in Indianapolis. And that generous spirit that even in an industry, they say companies, they do include governmental agencies like NASA, nonprofit organizations, and universities as well. And if you think about what universities can do to innovate for the benefits of our students and faculty, there's a lot that we can do.
So speaking of that, how do you think about the culture? So Purdue innovates, right? You guys are moving very fast. I want to share I heard some numbers a while back, and I don't know if they're real or not, but the source was credible. But Stanford University, since they started thinking about IP transfer, tech transfer, they've done something like over 5,000 companies they've been a part of spinning out. A little over 1,400, almost 1,500 of those companies ever made $1, and about 55 of those companies ever made $1 million or more. Pointing to the fact that entrepreneurship is hard. It takes a lot of shots on goal, right? Implement that culture of IP and commercialization. How do you think about that at Purdue? Like commercialization of tech or transfer of IP? How do you think about making that more efficient?
Yeah, look, if you don't shoot a 3, you're never going to make a 3, right? And by the way, just last night, the Boilermakers men's basketball, we made 19 threes.
It was incredible. I watched the game from beginning to end. It was amazing.
Yeah, what else there?
3 reverse slam dunks.
There was that too. Yeah, 104, against the Big Ten rival. It's interesting. You highlighted the importance of giving a try. And people sometimes hesitate to say, all right, I don't know, maybe it's a bad idea. Well, it doesn't hurt to give it a try in a small pilot and see how that goes. You're always going to make some mistakes. Who before what? If you've got the right team, they'll be able to navigate and pivot. You always constantly have to pivot and refine and optimize.
And pivot's a good word. It's not a bad word,
It's
right?
a good word.
It's a good word.
In the startup world, of course, it's cliche now to say fail fast.
Right.
I learned fail fast in my own startup company as a CEO firsthand. Not because you love failing. The key is you got to do it fast so that you can quickly learn and recover.
Yeah, I so agree with that. And I think sometimes empowering entrepreneurs to give themselves the freedom to, if something's not working, step back, be objective, step back 1 or 2 steps. Sometimes it takes a step back to go forward 3 more efficiently.
Oxygen for mistakes, right? You want to give the team some oxygen for mistakes. And the key is for a company, you want to finish making those big mistakes before you run out of money.
That's exactly right.
Or the next round of fundraising is upon your head. You're always fundraising, right? But sometimes it's crunch time. And for universities, if you think about a lot of the innovations we've been doing, especially if you look at the Daniels decade, you see that we constantly optimizing and pivoting by listening to the market, listening to students, and listening to how society as a whole is moving forward. And then you keep optimizing.
So let's move into partnerships. How Purdue thinks about partnerships with industry, right? So you're deep into multiple things with corporations, and so maybe share a little about how do you think about higher ed and those intentional relationships and partnerships with industry?
Well, Toph, shall we together draw a hexagon? I think hexagon is 6-sided. Is that right? Rusty on my math in English. All right. Let's say 6.
We might have to cut this part out.
All right. Don't cut it out. That's real time. We're going to keep every bit of it. But say 6-sided, right? Our industry relationship, Purdue enterprise as a whole, there are at least 6 interacting dimensions. There is, in no particular order, student recruiting, co-op, one of the best co-op programs, largest in the country. We're doing that here in Indianapolis as well. There is online learning. We have both Purdue Global, working adults, and Purdue University Online for working professionals and master degree level. And together, between the two of them, we educate about 50,000 students at a given time.
That's amazing.
And then there is also interacting with industry on patents and startups. You mentioned Purdue Innovates. Yes. Out of Purdue Research Foundation, in collaboration with many units at the university, we have one half of the house looking at intellectual property development, patents, for example, and licensing. That's the key. It's licensing, not only inventing, but also deploying.
Right.
And then the other half of the house will be entrepreneurship and startup creation by our alumni. Some of those startups license our IP, some don't, which is all fine. So there's that component. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, the fourth one is how we work together on research. And we have great research, for example, going on with Eli Lilly.
Yep.
And we're working at Medicine Foundry, working at pharmaceutical manufacturing innovation and AI-based drug discovery. A lot of great things happening with Eli Lilly, with Elanco, for example, on One Health, human, animal, plant health, working together. The fifth one is philanthropic support. We've got great benefactors among individuals, but also with corporations and foundations. Lilly Endowment, for example, as well as Eli Lilly and company itself, their own foundation. They've been great as an example of many that we'll work with. And then the sixth one is arguably the most challenging one, is economic development. I say challenging because now you are not only providing workforce and talents, you want them to come here to the state of Indiana, to America's hard tech corridor, between here in downtown Indianapolis, where we are right now this moment,
Yes.
and Purdue's new first urban campus, through Lebanon, where Eli Lilly is building this fantastic facility that's going to transform the supply chain of medicine, all the way to West Lafayette, Discovery Park District, Research Park, SFA Hynix, Rolls-Royce, right? I mean, 65-mile long, and you can drive either along 65 or 52, pick your favorite, but 65-mile long, and we're going to create workforce and jobs and innovation together. The economic development often lead to many other great things, from research collaboration to transform knowledge to recruiting to learning. And so a hexagon of 6 dimensions. And we holistically work with companies, great companies already here, been here for a long time in a variety of industry, from aerospace, transportation, logistics, to agriculture, pharmaceutical, life science, to semiconductors, microelectronics, defense, and attract new companies, large and small ones that are being created by Hoosiers every day, as well as larger ones that can bring thousands of jobs and the whole supply chain of medium, small enterprises along with them. So we're working hard. We have been working hard to create this America's hard tech corridor. So 6 dimensions, and we work across all of them. We have Office for Industry Partnership as a one-stop shop, a concierge desk. And to those who are listening right now to this podcast, if your company hasn't yet started a conversation, one of the 6 dimensions, if not all of them, with Purdue University, give me a call, shoot me an email. We'd love to talk to you.
I love that. What you just described, I started to think about cross-sector. And we used to think about all these different sectors very separately. And with modern technology and all the AI tools that are coming to play, what you just described is an amalgamation of like the importance of all this cross-sector collaboration. You're even starting new majors at Purdue to meet the modern demand. So like you started a semiconductor major, I believe, and you have a partnership with SK Hynix up there that you just touched on a moment ago. Can you dive a little bit deeper into that and how you think about marrying majors in talent preparation in conjunction with these corporations, and even breaking down these so-called, sector lines, or how you bring the hard and the soft together.
First of all, the virtual and the physical are merging. We'll later perhaps talk about physical AI and how the bytes of AI meet the atoms of physical world.
Yes.
And Indiana becoming the smart crossroads of America. And I went to your rally conferences, right? And I know that this interdisciplinary, inter-industry collaboration where you're going to be the catalyst of new industries being created. I love that so much. And thanks for the invite, by the way, whereby Scott Dorsey and I had a little fireside chat last time. That was a lot of fun. Scott is such a great entrepreneur.
Incredible.
And investing back, paying forward with our Hoosier entrepreneurs here. And we've got a great collaboration, Purdue's new campus here. We have a site among one of the 10 sites throughout the city, Marbling, is with Scott Dorsey.
And your philosophy is meeting industry where they are.
That's right. You don't have to come to us. We come to you, right? Because it's the industry and it's the civic society in our capital city that has been asking for Purdue's presence for many years and decades. And now we're here and we're coming to you to work on the problems that you want to solve. But back to what you mentioned as how do we work across silos from a degree point of view, education point of view, whether it's online or residential or hybrid, whether it is at undergrad level or graduate level and professional development. We always take this view that we got to keep modernizing both the content and the pedagogy delivery of educational content to meet the demands of the next generation. One example you alluded to is Semiconductor Degrees Program. And 2.5 years ago, we launched that, the first at-scale interdisciplinary program of that sort in the country. And the first thing I did was to call up 20-plus CEOs of the semiconductor industry in America and ask the CEO to endorse our program and send their CTO or EVP or SVP for engineering and product to be on our industry leadership board. And we meet twice a year, smart. And then they help us develop the content. Sometimes they give us some little cash or equipment gifts as well for student scholarships. Yep. They give co-op internship program to hundreds of students enrolled in the Semiconductor Degrees program. And then they help us modernize the content along with our great faculty members and staff. So today we are leading the country in semiconductor education, research, and industry partnership here in Silicon Heartland. And Central Indiana is the leader of Silicon Heartland to a large degree thanks to the industry partners that we have. And over the past year or two, our deans and department heads, along with faculty colleagues, changed so many different content in our degrees, existing degrees, and offering new minors. We have a sports engineering program, a sports business program, for example.
That's a great example of narrow and
engineering,
deep,
right? Yeah. And then we'll offer new minors, new certificates, new graduate programs. We're always constantly looking at how can we meet the demands of the next generation instead of keep teaching everything we have been teaching for decades and centuries. So we've got dozens of these new degree programs, and we're very proud of our instructors who have been working very hard to make that happen.
That's absolutely amazing. I think about the way Silicon Valley came about, right? The gentleman from Boston that I think you couldn't get funding in Boston way back in the day, and so he found some investors in California, and then what do we have later? Silicon Valley emerges, and I think what you just mentioned is we're seeing a big influx of big techs, like for the Magnificent Seven, have announced 5 major projects here, right, for manufacturing.
Yes.
But we think about, silicon in of itself, that was kind of invented in the 1960s. And now it's layering all of these other things on top. You got 3D stacking and heterogeneous concepts. All these things with the chip itself is going to go under such a major transformation. And with you launching the first major in semiconductors, like that's where the juice is going to be over the next X amount of years as we approach quantum.
Yeah, well, look, chips is the foundation of national economic and job security. It is the foundation of all digital economy. And if you look at SK Hynix as the global leader in providing high bandwidth memory chips for AI products from, say, NVIDIA, and the whole supply chain that they can help create here, that's going to be transformational. And if you think about the semiconductor evolution, right, back in the late 40s out of Bell Labs, and then 1959, the first commercially viable chips was created, actually co-invented, again, Bell Labs by a boilermaker, John Atala. And we indeed have now Atala Institute for Advanced Packaging. We lead the National Digital Twin out of a very stiff competition globally and nationally. And going forward, the densification of ever-shrinking feature-sized chips, right, and the gates on the chips. Every chip has so many transistors coming up. And look at the enabled AI. We can talk about AI now. Jensen Huang just
got back from CES, right?
CES, Las Vegas last week, and at his keynote, he talked about AI now meeting the physical world and the change is coming to robotics, to automobiles, and so on. If you think about the digital meeting the physical, where you've got agriculture, manufacturing, and how you can put the two together. Look, AI has already started changing the way that we learn and play and live. And going forward, true, it's going to eliminate many jobs, but it also is going to create many new jobs.
Yes.
So it's upon us to make sure that we can stay ahead of the curve. We can modernize our content and the delivery of the content using AI. We can provide the guardrails around AI, and we can do research in AI. We can start deploying using AI ourselves, but most importantly, help our state, our university, our graduates to be the ones who will be creating new jobs in the age of AI rather than be taking the jobs that's going to be eliminated by AI.
So do you think, so already there's a new term called software composers that's kind of started to emerge, and so these are folks that they may not have the skill set to actually write code or be a developer, but they can leverage modern technology and right, there's tools that have come out that you can in essence prompt it and it starts to write code, et cetera. And so it's almost like you're more managing this automated code that's being written. But I want to go one more level up and think about data scientists and machine learning. And if you want to solve a really, a hard problem, a lot of these algorithms have been around, these concepts have been around for centuries. We just couldn't activate them commercially because we'd have computational power and all these types of things. Well, do you think that we'll see a day in the next, let's call it 10 years, where AI or modernized tools start to replace data scientists that are developing novel, unique, math to solve I don't know what problem, but do you think we'll see that where they're more of the human interface, making sure that it's going the right direction?
No, well, I know that people are already talking about software that can write software and AI that can stop AI. And so we want to always have human beings focus on what human beings are uniquely capable of doing. I'm an optimist. I believe that with proper guardrails, AI will help make more interesting human beings and make our lives easier, more productive. And it was going to be a boost to individual opportunities and freedom. But there is the real concern that if not done properly, and the fear of 1984 from a freedom point of view, the fear of economic shift from a labor market point of view, that's real. So it's upon us to make sure that in our education research, we can get the best out of the age of AI. So that's why we have two actually majors. Both are very popular. One is in computer science, and it's a AI technical major. And we don't just teach how can you use AI of today, but how can you use AI of today to create jobs of tomorrow?
Interesting.
For other sectors. But then we also have another major out of philosophy department where we talk about AI and ethics, AI and individual responsibilities, maybe debate AI and free will.
Yes.
Can AI one day, especially when it's combined with not just data and silicon computing power, but also the physical world, the robotics and so on, and you start to wonder, all right, what is uniquely human then? Right? Can AI suffer? Can AI laugh and dream and cry as we do as human beings? And by the way, if machines cannot suffer, are they truly at the age of blurring humanity or not? If they cannot dream dreams, and if they cannot laugh and cry the way we do as human beings, maybe they are not there yet. So look, I'm an optimist. I believe that with innovative education and research innovation, with a lot of great partnership, we can get the best. They say it's the best of time, the worst of times. Well, I think, yes, perhaps it is both at this moment in the age of AI too. But with universities like Purdue, we can perhaps get the best out of it for humanity.
Yes. That's interesting. When you talk about those majors with AI, I mean, philosophy to engineering, I know it's a big range. Do the students, do they get exposure to the different types of curriculum? I guess philosophy majors might not be designing, redesigning 3D stacking for chips, right? But like, is there some cross exposure?
Yes, absolutely. We don't all have to be doing the same thing. But it's good to have the exposure. And we have this cornerstone program from liberal arts so that engineers can also understand and appreciate the liberal arts and vice versa. So you're exactly right.
That's awesome. I love it. So let's talk about maybe touched on a little bit of how you think about Purdue and global reach. So, will Purdue ever have global campuses or campuses in... Because you do have Purdue Global, right, where you can take virtual classes, right, anywhere in the world, I think. But how do you think about that? What could the future look like?
So first of all, Purdue is very proud and will always be proud to serve as our state, Indiana's public land-grant institution. We're very proud to be the only university, public or private, from this state to be ranked among the world's top 100 by both QS and Times Higher Ed this year. And we are proud of the whole system, including the extension offices in every one of the 92 counties. I've been to many and soon will complete the tour of every one of them. I don't just drive through. I stop and go talk to our extension office over there. We're proud of Purdue Fort Wayne, Purdue Northwest, regional universities. Maybe before the time is up here, we can talk a bit about here in Indianapolis.
Yes.
It's an integral part of the main campus. But you are right. We do have Purdue Global as a virtual and global campus as well. As Mitch would say, sort of the land-grant mission in 21st century. Now, as to physical presence, just recently we opened 2 centers in India. One is for CHIPS collaboration. One is for generally education engagement there. We are excited with the right kind of collaboration. But I think, first of all, we always prioritize what we can do here in our own state here. There's a lot we're doing and a lot more we will be doing here. And 2 is that I think we can have a impact globally without necessarily setting up a lot of the brick and mortars. The online learning these days is so powerful.
So powerful.
And by the way, with AI tools, you can quickly generate content, quickly translate into different languages, and quickly distribute via connectivity technologies that got developed and matured over the past several decades to a lot of people. But if you think about our presence here in Indianapolis, now that is a big focus.
Let's talk about that for a minute.
Yes.
So Indianapolis now has 2, well, Indiana has 3 R1 universities, right? Notre Dame, Purdue, Indiana University. But now Indianapolis has 2 R1 universities, right? So Purdue, so the traditional IUPUI, right? We split. Was it just this year?
Yeah, I don't want to interrupt you, but I think right now is 1 R1 because for IU, if I'm not mistaken, it's a regional IUI, and they're doing great work. They're doing great work and a wonderful partner. For Purdue, it is not a regional university. It is a integrated part of the main campus. as an R1. But taxonomy aside, what's important is that we are investing along with partners here in our capital city, and we've not been given the chance to do that for many, many decades until now, and we're going to see 1 + 1 = 3 here. We appreciate deeply the partnership with state legislature, with the local business and civic communities, as mentioned, and also with IUI, the regional university campus here in the IU system. And I think together, we can help further elevate. Well, your elevate venture. I like that word, elevate, evaporate. I'm learning new words here today. Together, elevate and accelerate this great city.
Yeah, it's so exciting, right? Having an R1 university right here in the capital city, in such close proximity to even more corporate partners. The things that you mentioned earlier.
And by the way, we're just getting started. We're just getting started.
Scratching the surface, right?
That's right. It's a startup. If you think about it.
It is.
You've done a startup. I've done 3, and I was very involved in particular the first one. And like any startup, you got to listen to the market. You got to pivot. You got to have the best team. And wow, boy, don't we have the best team imaginable with Dan Hassler as the chief operating officer, because it's not a separate regional campus.
Yep.
Therefore, we don't have a separate chancellor, but we do have a great chief operating officer in Dan Hassler, David Umelis on the academic side, reporting to the provost office. And then we have just amazing teams here, from physical facility to communications and marketing to finance to engagement, community partnership, particularly marbling throughout the whole city of Indianapolis. We had this total solar eclipse last year. Remember that? That was
it was wild.
And it was in the middle of SK Hynix announcement and middle of the March Madness Final Four.
The best place in the country to watch it, wasn't it? I think.
One of the best. And then they got some cloud down in Texas. So all the news media then quickly hurried up to Indianapolis. Indianapolis got a pretty busy year last year.
That was amazing.
So I say totality is the totality of Purdue to the totality of Indianapolis. We inherited a portion of what used to be known as IUPUI, but that's just the beginning. We're already breaking new degrees and majors here, from integrated business engineering out of Mitch Daniels School of Business, and coming up, anything that's health related. We're going to offer those majors starting here, and we're going to pretty much bring every one of the many departments we have in West Lafayette to have a starting physical location here in Indianapolis. But also it's the totality of the city.
Yes.
It's not restricted only to the campus, but our campus is the whole city. We have already, on day 1, July 1 last year, 10 different locations throughout the city. And wherever it makes sense for us to be with you, the business partner, the civic community partner, we're going to create a location right next to you where you are today.
That's amazing. Has Purdue decided how many, is there a goal yet for how many students you want to have in Indianapolis versus West Lafayette?
As it makes sense.
To me, it makes sense.
As many as it is healthy and useful for the city's economic growth. As many as there is quality demand for, and there's huge demand surging, and as many as we expand the offering totality of new degrees here and new locations throughout the city, as many as that would demand.
Yeah.
So we don't want to a priori artificially cap the growth potential. We believe in the future of our state, our city. We're doubling down on our investments right here. So we will have tremendous growth.
Yeah. So exciting. All right, well, just 2 other short topics here. Then we're going to get a rapid round. So let's touch on just real quick public policy and how you think about public policy and the role of universities. Are there things that Purdue's involved in now at the state and the federal level, or how do you think about that with how universities, with the onslaught of AI, developing that talent, and how that might parlay into helping to shape public policy?
Well, first of all, our commitment to excellence at scale with affordability, that of
You had
itself.
a freeze on tuition, by the way, for
Freezing tuition now for 13 years
13
announced,
years.
starting with Mitch year one and going forward. That alone, I think, is a publicly related policy, if you will, in of itself, right? To focus on excellence at scale with affordability, like few others can do in this country. But also our focus on co-creation of workforce, jobs, and innovation. We always say, without workforce, jobs won't come or be created.
right.
Without jobs, workforce won't stay. And without innovation, you cannot sustain the co-creation of workforce and jobs at the same time as new technologies rewrite the economic equations for many industries. So I think, first of all, those focus points that Purdue is so proud of and intensely focusing on over the years, in and of itself, is a public good.
Yes.
Now, furthermore, yes, a lot of policies within the state and across the country, we love to contribute whatever we could. By the way, Happy New Year, and we're very excited working with Secretary David Adams.
He's going to be amazing.
He will be amazing. He is amazing as a leader. And, we've had many rounds of conversations leading up to today. And we know that we have so much potential here.
Yes.
There's that hunger, that fire in the belly, that intensity and intentionality to say that as a state, as a university, as a national asset, as a university in Purdue, we have so much more that we can do. We're proud of the past, and we're going to charter a future that's going to be creating the jobs and the workforce and innovation of tomorrow. We'll never rest until we can always be that one brick higher, building into that future.
I love that. I like to use this phrase, intentional connectivity, and that intentional connectivity between public and private sectors, right? Between the state government, between the university leaders, between investors and the ecosystem, it all has to connect and play together.
Yeah, and innovate or evaporate. Now I'm starting to recall my basic grammar lessons. I guess you're saying that you got to choose one, because if you don't choose innovate, you will evaporate.
You will evaporate. I've never seen it go this fast.
Yes.
So I graduated from Purdue in '92, and I've never seen or felt or witnessed a rate of change as fast as the last 12 months. And it literally is an exponential acceleration, which is why we came up with that name. It's like it's fatal. If you do not innovate, you will evaporate.
Not only you have to be better and more innovative tomorrow than you are today, but also you got to do that better and faster than all the competitors. Right. And let's just say within our own country, we've got competing states, some are neighbors.
Yes.
Ohio, Michigan, right? And you look at other competitors from Texas and Arizona and Florida and Tennessee and North Carolina. And of course, there's also New York and California. And I don't want to disrespect any other states by not mentioning their names. But frankly, all the other 49 states, right, they are also trying to swim better and faster than yesterday. So not only we've got to be better as a state and university tomorrow than today, we have to be better at an accelerated pace.
Yes.
As nerds, that second derivative. How about that? Such a nerdy word in your podcast.
I love it.
All right. I don't even remember what derivative is anymore. I think it's talking about acceleration. Now, correct me if I'm wrong here. You got to accelerate.
Yes.
You got to be better than yourself. You got to be better than yourself faster than the others are becoming better than themselves too.
Right. That's right.
Nobody's staying still. Nobody is staying behind. So you got to compete. See, the beauty of something like NCAA, men's basketball, women's basketball tournament is that you got to compete not just in your own conference and league, not just Big Ten, different style throughout the whole country. And you got to keep winning one after another, right? For basketball, you got to win 6 games to be champions. You got to win 5 games nonstop in a year, within a few weeks, to get to the championship game, like the Boilermakers did last season, right?
Yes.
Wow, that's tough. Because guess what? Every game, one team wins, the other team loses.
Yep.
And
you got to show up every day, because if you
show up every day,
you got to show up.
You got to practice. You got to be determined. You got to say, I want to be that winner.
Yeah.
This game, next game, next game there. And we've been winning. Look at the deals that Purdue helped our state win. From SK Hynix, almost $4 billion to start with, advanced packaging for advanced memory AI chips, to many other companies coming to West Lafayette over the past few years. The big ones, for example, Saab, Rolls-Royce, and then compounding on what we already have in Subaru, in GE Aviation, in Wabash. And that's just one industry sector, the transportation, logistics, aerospace, defense industry. And we've got quite a few other industry. Look at digital agriculture. One of the startups we host in Purdue Research Park, just raised a lot of money in a new round of funding at a very, very high multi-unicorn valuation. And we are looking at the set of winnings that we've been able to achieve. And you say, well, what do we do tomorrow? And I say, we got to win more. There's never enough. It's never enough. Good enough is not enough. And we cannot sit back and relax. And we say, you know what? That's wonderful. Let's keep going. Let's keep winning.
And stay curious, right?
Stay curious. Curiosity is the foundation of all learning and education. Purdue is fundamentally an institution of curiosity. It's all about learning. It's about creation, dissemination, and deployment of new knowledge. So you've got to be curious every single day, 24/7.
I love it. All right. Well, we're going to move into rapid fire. Any high-level topics that we didn't chat about today?
I thought this has already been pretty rapid fire.
This is pretty rapid fire. This is awesome. I've learned a lot today, too. That I'm pretty up to speed on Purdue. I learned several new things today. This is awesome.
Oh, well, I'm going to quiz you later and see, hey, which are the four pillars? Hey, by the way, which are the four pillars? Till I'll say, the Board of Trustees declared these four strategic pillars over the past 2 years. One is our first urban campus, Indianapolis. One is McDaniel School of Business, right, training a large number, excellence at scale, transformational leaders in a tech-driven free market economy. And another one is Purdue Computes. You mentioned quantum, physical AI, chips, computing. And then the fourth one is One Health, human, animal, plant health working together.
So that's human, animal, plant health. They're in a 10-mile radius. We have the number one highest valued pharma company. We have the number one pure play ag company and the number two animal health company, right? All in a 10-mile radius here.
You're right.
In Indianapolis. And the power of that in partnering with universities like yourself, that's a no-brainer to lean into.
It is a no-brainer. And by the way, the One Health Innovation District right around the Elanco's new headquarters across the river from here, it will be amazing. And already startups and larger companies are signing up because, as you said, it's about this densification. Yeah. And I always say, what pays is CD? And I don't mean those that are paying you 5% or 4% these days, I guess. This is going to be so much ROI. What is CD here? Curated densification. Without densification of talent, capital, infrastructure, and like-minded companies, you won't be able to create the ecosystem of connected dots, but you need to curate it. Rather than trying to do as an underdog, perhaps, 20% well of 100% stuff under the sun. They say, pick 10% of what's under the sun and do an 120% job of it, right? If you do curated densification around different locations throughout the state, as I mentioned, we're proud of every location Purdue has to serve the state. Then through that CD, curated densification, then you can be the best in whatever you choose to do, doubling down on your existing strength. Our traditional strength in advanced manufacturing, in digital agriculture, in transportation, among others, in pharmaceutical. Double down on your strength, curate the densification, right? And keep innovating like there's no tomorrow. Innovate or evaporate.
Density is one of my favorite words, and curated densification. I love that. Do you mind if I use that? I'll give you credit for it.
Oh, well, I'm going to first, give me a minute. I'm going to try to trademark it first. Then you're going to have to pay me royalties and goes into the frozen tuition there. All right?
I love it.
No, I'm kidding. Feel free to go ahead, use it. There's no pride of authorship. We all work together as our team.
It is so powerful because if you don't have density of anything, then you can't get traction. It's like in a company. If you've got to go narrow and deep to get traction, and then everything can.
And that's our speed and scale.
That's right.
Speed and scale, which, by the way, tend to work against each other.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, when you are big, you tend to slow down, and you got out innovated. Is the innovator's dilemma, right? Yep. You cared about your cash cow today, and you just cannot get yourself to self-cannibalize. Yeah. And then some other innovators come along, boom. They're cheaper, and then one day you wake up and say, "Oh no, now they are leading." So you got to always be on your toes. Think about tomorrow. Think about the kind of economic growth agenda that you can give to our own state here. And Purdue will work. We cannot do this alone. We'll continue to work with all the partners, including Innovate Ventures and all the startups in that ecosystem, and let's work together. Yes. Because together we can innovate with a kind of speed and scale together.
I love it. All right. I love it. I'm so fired up. So I got to go back to work. Let's hit some rapid fire questions.
All right.
So
I've had too much coffee today. I don't know.
So these are, so feel free to pass 1 word, 5 words, however you want to answer these.
Professors, once we start talking, we can't stop, as you can tell. I'll try.
All right, here we go. We're going to rattle through 4 of them. So what is one thing in your industry that you think people should stop doing? So maybe one thing in higher ed that people should stop doing.
These are tough for rapid fire, Gee, I got to think about it because there's quite a few. But I'm going to try to be brief and say that reduce the paperwork.
Well, that's a great one.
Fewer signatures on every form.
Yeah, that's a great one. What is one thing or a process or a habit that you think leads to the best ability to disrupt or innovate? So one thing that lends itself to the best ability to innovate or disrupt yourself.
Allow your team to disagree within the team. Let the team members debate. And I'm trying to learn this better myself too. Don't jump in and try to dictate the answers. Let there be a range of different opinions within your team. By the way, you want to hire the A-team players. We've got A-team here at Purdue, and A-team players keep hiring A-team players as well, just like in any startup company. Yeah. But you need the team to internally disagree before we agree on a particular line of actions to go forward. Yeah. But always look back and say, wow, the team around me, they give me so many wonderful pieces of advice. And the best part is when we actually are allowed to disagree with each other, then we refine our strategy together. That's good for crisis management. It's good for execution.
A's hire A's, B's hire C's.
That's right. And let the A players have that oxygen to make mistakes and have the freedom to disagree with each other.
Yep. I love that. That's great. All right. Number 3, if you could solve one problem in the world with innovation, or the one thing or the trend that's happening right now that has the ability to transform lives, what would it be? If you could solve one problem in the world with innovation, or the ability to transform our lives, what would it be?
Make ice cream yummy and healthy at the same time.
Oh.
0 calorie, but really, you said I have a magic wand, right? I can do whatever I want, right?
Anything.
All right. There are many ways to help a lot of folks. I'm taking clearly a half-joking approach here to answer your question here, but 0 calorie and yet just as yummy.
I'm in. I'm down for that.
Some Purdue students must be working on that. We've got a great flavor.
Hey, you invented the world's whitest paint, right?
Well, not me. Yes, one of our faculty members and his research teams. Yes,
anything's possible.
It is possible. We've got great students already. They invented a set of new flavors. I tried them all, and one of them was voted in by incoming freshmen as the best. And I started throwing those ice cream during football games and basketball games among the student, with the student section. They all love it.
I need to talk to the team and make sure we know this company or this whoever's inventing this stuff. I want to circle back on that one.
I'll connect.
All right. And then what is one thing that you want to share that you're passionate about that we haven't covered today? What's something that we haven't talked about today that you're super passionate about you want to share?
Gee, I'm a passionate person in general about a lot of things, as you can tell. Perhaps I'll highlight this one. We want universities to be the first vista of intellectual debate and the last bastion of individual freedoms. And we treasure that American value of individual freedom and responsibility so much. And I think that American universities are uniquely positioned. All jokes aside, I know I made some random jokes in the past half an hour, but this is dead serious. We need American universities to always be that first vista of intellectual debates and the last bastion of individual freedoms. And I'm proud to say that our university, Indiana's public land-grant institution, Purdue, has been and will always be that first vista and that last bastion.
That is really powerful. You just gave me chills. That's awesome. I love it.
Well, maybe it's your coffee. I don't know. But hey, Toph, I want to thank you for your leadership and as an entrepreneur to create basically a startup, right? I mean,
right.
Innovate, the Adaptation venture.
Yep.
To innovate. That's a startup. It's a what they call mission-driven startup,
yep.
Right? And you enable many other profit-seeking startups and other mission-driven startups to proliferate and thrive in our state. And I'll tell you, you ask me any day, anytime, choose innovate or evaporate. You know my choice.
Yep, absolutely. Innovate all day.
So that you don't evaporate.
That's right.
We're not let that happen.
That's not an option.
No, it's not an option. Evaporation is not an option. You're right. The world is changing so fast. And universities like Purdue got to stay at the forefront every step of the way with your help and many other wonderful partners' support. So boiler up to you, Toph.
Thank you, boiler up. President Mung Chiang, thank you so much for your time today. And we will see you all again soon on Innovate.